Reading from John 10, 1 through 21. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in by another way, that man is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the gatekeeper opens. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all of his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. This figure of speech Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. So Jesus again said to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And I have other sheep that are not of his fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This charge I have received from my Father. There was again a division among the Jews because of these words. Many of them said, He has a demon and is insane. Why listen to him? Others said, These are not the words of one who is oppressed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind?
Thank you. Let's pray this morning. God, we come to you, Lord, thankful for your word. Thankful that you are the good shepherd. God, as we sang this morning, we were reminded that we need you. We will arise and go to you. We are weary and we are heavy laden, and we are thankful that we can come to Jesus. This morning, as we dive into your word, Lord, about what it means to be a sheep, God, would you open our eyes and our ears and our hearts to your word? May it penetrate, may it remain, may it dwell, may it abide. Lord, help us to know what it means to follow you. We love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. So let me remind you, we are in a series going through the book of John called Abide. Abide means to remain or to take up residence in, to dwell. If we are going to be followers of Jesus, if we're going to be Christians, the little Christ, then our lives have to begin to look like his. And that only takes place when we spend time with him. It only takes place when we follow him, and we will only follow when we've spent time with him. So this morning, we're going to challenge you to abide as sheep. Now, some of you get offended when I say that you need to be a sheep. And that's because you've been told that sheep are just stupid. And that's semi-true. Sheep are not the most intelligent animals. They're not the most beautiful or graceful, but sheep are the single greatest animal at following. Sheep, it's not so much that they're dumb. Sheep just do what they're told. Sheep are in desperate need of a shepherd. Sheep are the most dependent animal there is. Some of you thought it was your cat or my dog. But sheep are the most dependent animal. If no one is there to lead and guide them, they will just meander and wander aimlessly. And they will keep going back to the same pit or the same thistle or briar bush, or not because that they're just dumb, but because they were made to follow. And if there's no one to follow, then they just wander. It sounds a lot like us, doesn't it? We were created to follow. We were created to follow Christ. And without him, what do? We wander. We all wander aimlessly. And we grab a hold of whatever we can find that we think might appease us for the moment. And for some of us, we find a crutch that ultimately becomes an addiction. And We keep going back to it over and over and over, just like that stupid sheep. Not because we're dumb people, because we're looking for a shepherd. And if we don't look to Christ, then we pick up whatever shepherd we can find. And we keep going back to that same bush, and we keep getting stuck in the same pit, the same routine over and over again, until the shepherd comes and sets us free. So this morning, as we encourage you to abide as sheep, I want you to really begin to let it sink in that sheep are dependent. They need the shepherd. That is countercultural to everything you have ever been taught about being a human. Right? Some of you ladies are supposed to be Miss Independent, right? And some of you could probably stand up and sing a song and do a dance for us about how Miss Independent you are, right? And guys, we don't need to sing and dance. We don't let anybody into anything. Nobody needs to know my business. I do my thing. It's all about me. We're the Lone Ranger, right? So it'd be a nice little, if we had all the Lone Rangers on one side and Miss Independence on the other side, we could have a fun little morning, couldn't we? That's not how we were created. We were created for community. We were created for relationships. And the whole Christian thing does not work if you try to do it by yourself. You need the church. We need each other. So this morning, let me explain a few things about sheep in the first place and shepherds. I have this really cool devotion book about a guy who went and followed some current day shepherds. And he just shares about how crazy it is. And how there's a lot of guys that go out to be shepherds and they come back and they're like, I can't do it. Nope. Man, send me to the business world because that is too dangerous. It is too crazy. There are wolves and the noises at night, and I don't sleep, and I come back in and my sheep are all messed up and I got to take care of them. And then he tells stories about how they may have 50 sheep, and the shepherd knows them by name. And when they come in, he knows just by looking at them if there's something that's wrong. The care that the shepherd takes for the sheep is incredible. He knows everything they could ever need or want before they even ask. And then we get an interesting concept called the sheepfold. Now, you may have read that in the first verse, okay? Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in by another way, that man is a thief and a robber. And some of you are like, what's a sheepfold? Well, the best that we can understand it today, it's like a fence. It's like a fenced-in yard, okay? We have a fenced-in yard to put our kids in there so they can't get out, right? They can't go anywhere. Usually this would be like a stone wall, okay? And it would essentially be the place where not just one family, but probably the community would essentially store their sheep at night. And so the sheep have been out grazing. As it begins to get dark, that's a dangerous place to be. There are wolves and there are robbers. And so as night begins to fall, you want to gather your sheep and put them into the sheepfold where they will stay until morning. And so you might have 3 or 4 different families of sheep in there. And that's when the shepherd can then go and rest. And at the door, you probably have a keeper, a doorkeeper, a gatekeeper, someone who stands there that only lets in the shepherds. And that is also the place, though, that people will come to steal someone's sheep. However, the gatekeeper is smart. And if you are not the shepherd, he does not let you in. And if you are a robber and you are smart, what do? You go around back and you climb in over the fence. Now, Jesus is going to give this really cool picture of what it looks like for the sheep to follow. And he's going to share this beautiful imagery of the sheep that know the shepherd's voice. And they will follow. But if you climb in over the fence, then you're a robber and a thief, and they don't have anything to do with you. So, he does a couple things for us in this passage. Okay? In John 10 here, kind of, if we go 1 through 18, and we hold off on 19, 20, and 21, 1 to 18 is kind of divided up in 3 sections, if you will. Okay? Verses 1 through 6, we get this picture that Jesus is gathering a flock. Jesus is talking to some Jewish people, And he's telling them that the shepherd has come to gather his people. Okay? And we're going to dive into this in a little more detail in just a second. So the first few verses we get, Jesus is telling them that he is coming to gather his flock. Even among the Jews, the good shepherd is coming to gather his people. Then in 7 through 10, Jesus begins to explain why he's doing this. Like, I'm coming to gather this flock, and they're like, well, why? Why would you do that? And he's going to talk about laying down his life. He's going to share things that the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I've come to give life. Okay? And then 11 through 18, Jesus then gives them the picture that he gives life to the flock. Okay? So we get the first few verses, Jesus is gathering his people in. Well, then obviously the question will be, well, why is he doing that? And then we get, oh man, not only is he gathering these people, like, he is the way that they receive life. So, let's see what happens, right? First few verses, he's gathering them. The thief doesn't come in through the door. He comes in, he climbs in. Verse 4 says, when he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. This figure of speech Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying. So here's the picture that Jesus begins to give. He is coming into a flock of sheep called Jewish people. They were waiting for the Messiah to come and rescue them, to come and save them. So essentially, it might look something like this. We're the Jewish people, and we are gathered. And Jesus comes in and shares, well, I'm coming to gather my people. And we would look at Jesus and go, what does that have to do with us? Like, why are you here? So what? Go gather your people. We don't care. That doesn't affect us. Why are you telling us about sheep? We're good. And so Jesus is going to say, guys, sheep will follow their shepherd because they know his voice. And the people go, okay, that's great, Jesus. What does that have to do with us? Well, Jesus just said to them, the sheep will follow their shepherd because they know the shepherd's voice. And as Jesus talks to them, what he's looking for are those that will know his voice and begin to follow him. But none of them do. They don't understand. They just look at Jesus with blank stares, like, huh? Okay, go gather your sheep, Jesus. Like, don't bother us. And unfortunately, that's the same response we give Jesus a lot of times, isn't it? We will hear God's word and something will begin to kind of resonate and we'll go, no, I'm not going to respond. No thanks, Jesus. Yeah, other people have cares and needs and burdens and they need to lay them at your feet, but I'm gonna keep my stuff. You keep doing what you're doing, and man, I will even pray for those people that are struggling. But no, I'm good. And I love this. Jesus says in verse 6, he says, this figure of speech Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. I feel like that a lot of times when I read the Bible, right? Like really? You want me to deny myself and pick up my cross and follow you? Whew, that's a little tough. And so the Jews are a lot like we are. They just didn't understand Jesus' figure of speech. So what does Jesus do? He didn't give up on them. He tries something different. He said, okay, I came in here. You guys know about sheep and shepherds. I share this with you. Nothing. No effect whatsoever. Okay. Well, here go verses 7 through 10. Let's try this one. So verse 7 says, so Jesus again said to them, truly, truly, I say to you, now he's going to be a door. I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers. Now here's what you guys got to grasp. Like, we missed this part. We just kind of bypass this. When he says all who came before me, what's he talking about? All of the Old Testament prophets, the people that the Jewish people adore. Moses, like, what? Like all these people that came before me, like, they're not me. They're not the shepherd. And essentially we've seen over and over that Jesus will relate back and go, guys, you listen to Abraham, you listen to Moses, like, if you were really Abraham's children, like, you would be following me right now. And so he tells them, he says, look, all those who came before me, they're thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. And we want to talk about freedom. Freedom to go in the sheepfold and then go out to pasture. Then come back in and be safe. Then go back in, go back out and enjoy and graze and then come back in and be safe at night and then go back out. Man, this is a beautiful picture of what a relationship with Jesus looks like. Not an enslavement by religion, not being enslaved by sin like we talked about last week. This is what it looks like. Jesus sets them free, sets us free from sin and death so that we can go in and go out. And we can follow him because we know his voice. And then he says this in verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. We've seen through John a few of these I am statements. Jesus is telling them, I am God. When he says I am, like they stop. Because if you make an I am statement, you are claiming to be God. He says, I'm the good shepherd, guys. Like, you're missing the point. I'm not really talking about sheep. I only care about the sheepfold. I am the good shepherd. I came that you might have life and have it to the full. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I think this is a place where we need to just pause for a minute and kind of talk about like current day real life stuff, right? Guys, there are a whole lot of people that their big knock on Christianity is that it's a boring set of rules and religion, and it just enslaves you, and there's no freedom, and there's no fun, and there's, like, that's a lie. That's a lie from Satan, from the thief, who only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. You need evidence of this? Look at someone's life that is enslaved by sin. It ultimately leads to their death and destruction. Because that's exactly what Satan does. He comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And if you look at our world, look at marriages, for instance. The thief has the sole purpose of destroying marriages. Because a marriage is a picture of Jesus and his love for the church. It's a gospel representation. And so why do marriages struggle? Because the husband won't take out the trash? No. Because the thief comes to destroy them. Right? Why do children rebel against their parents? Because their parents have too many rules? No. Because the thief comes to steal and kill and destroy that relationship. We just need to call sin what it is. It is an attack on followers of Jesus. It is an attack on anybody who might consider following Jesus. Because that is all the thief comes to do. Man, I could probably sit here and say that I know that there are people here this morning that are struggling with depression and anxiety and that kind of stuff. Not because somebody has come and whispered in my ear like, hey, so-and-so is really struggling. Because statistics say in a room this size, there are probably 2 or 3 people that are really struggling with depression and anxiety and those kind of things. Because the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And so if you are struggling, hear this. There is hope. And his name is Jesus. And this is a place of people that are not perfect, that are struggling. This is a place full of sheep. And when we're not following the shepherd, guess what happens to us? We wander and make really stupid decisions. So if you're not perfect, you're in a good place. If you're struggling, you're in a good place. We will never abandon you because the shepherd never comes home without all of his sheep. If there is one dumb sheep that's wandered off and gotten himself into a mess, you know what the shepherd does? He leaves his 99 and goes and searches for the one. And I can promise you this, you're not the only one. There is a good shepherd that has come searching for you. And in fact, he actually laid down his life for you. And so when we see in John 10 and 11, when Jesus says, I'm the good shepherd, I lay down my life for my sheep, he has done that so that you no longer have to struggle. Now, will your life change in a heartbeat? For some people, yeah. For others, it's a struggle. But when we abide as sheep, the struggle is not alone because the shepherd is there to lead us and guide us and help us. The shepherd never abandons his sheep. So understand this morning, the good shepherd does indeed give life by laying down his life. He does. And you don't have to go through it alone and struggle, and the shepherd is here. He's laid down his life for you. All he calls you to do is abide as sheep. And every single one of us can do that. Now, if we go on, he continues. It says, he's who hired hand is not a shepherd. The wolf comes, he's going to run. He says, but that's not me. I'm the good shepherd. I know my own and my own know me. Just as the Father knows me and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. Then in verse 16, he says, and I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also. They will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock and one shepherd. Now, he was talking to a group of Jewish people. You have a group of Jews that since a long time ago, God made a covenant with his people that he was going to save them, that the Messiah was going to come through that lineage. It goes back to Abraham, we follow it through David, we can follow it through the Old Testament, right? So he says to those people, to God's chosen people, I'm here, I'm trying to gather a flock. You guys aren't following me because you don't know my voice. And he goes through and says, I'm the good shepherd, I laid down my life for my people. And he says, oh yeah, I have people that I came for. I have more sheep that aren't of this flock. You know what that means? I have more sheep that aren't Jewish. Guys, that's really good news. Jesus has other sheep, and they're called Gentiles. They're you and me. They're us. We are the other fold. We're not Jewish. If you are, you're really bad Jew because you don't have your little hat on. That's good news. He has more sheep. Gentiles, us. He is the shepherd that came for you and me. And he will bring us in if we will listen to his voice. The only qualification to become part of this fold is that you will listen to Jesus' voice. Or we might say that you would have faith in Jesus, or that you would believe. You believe in your heart, and you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, you'll be saved. It's not how good you are or how bad you are. You don't have to turn in a resume. You just lie on it anyways, right? All you have to do is listen to his voice and follow. And there will be one flock and one shepherd. And man, that's good news. It also means that if there's one flock and one shepherd, everyone is welcome here. It doesn't matter your background, your race, your financial situation, where you live, doesn't matter. Jesus is the good shepherd with one flock, and he is the one shepherd. And I love, and he follows it up in 17 and 18. For this reason, the Father loves me. You know what the reason is that the Father loves Jesus? Because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This charge I received from my Father. And Jesus says he's going to lay down his life for his sheep. He's going to lay it down. He's going to pick it up. Nobody takes it from him. He is foreshadowing his crucifixion and his resurrection. And he's reminding them that he is the I am. He is God. He has the authority to do that. He has the authority to defeat sin and death because he's going to take all the punishment that we deserve. And he's going to be buried for 3 days, and he's going to raise from the dead, and he's going to show that he has conquered and defeated sin and death. Why can I trust Jesus? Because he had the authority to lay down his life. And he had the authority to pick it up again. And he rose from the dead, conquering and defeating sin and death, and nobody else has done that. And why do I believe Jesus really is God? Because I have found no other logical explanation for the resurrection. Nothing else even holds light to it. The only logical explanation for resurrection is resurrection. And if you have a question about that, I would love to talk to you. That's my passion, man. I love all the stuff and the fun theories and come close. The Good Shepherd laid down his life and then rose again. And what does verse 19 say? There was again a division among the Jews because of these words. What seems to happen every time Jesus talks to the Jews? There's a division. Because some of them believe. And they're like, this is the Messiah. This is the one God sent. We need to follow him. We know his voice and we follow him. And then this is the only argument the people that don't believe have. Okay, this is the only other argument. Many of them said, he has a demon and is insane. Why listen to him? I love it. Like, when you have nothing left to say in an argument, like you know the other person is right, your only argument is, well, that person must have a demon, they're crazy. Because if they don't have a demon and they're not crazy, then their words are true. And guys, that's the same thing for us. Like, Jesus' word, the Bible, is going to create a division. Division is going to be people that believe him and follow him, and those that don't. And can I just be real honest? People that choose not to follow Jesus, they don't have a lot of basis for that argument. They don't have any evidence that says I shouldn't follow Jesus. They don't have much to hold on to that says Jesus isn't who he says he is. Their only argument is, he's crazy. He must be demon-possessed. And that's not a very good argument. Because when you begin to break that down, C.S. Lewis said Jesus is either Lord, a liar, or a lunatic. Jesus doesn't give you the option to say he's just a good teacher, because if he's just a good teacher and he says he's God, then he's lying. And if he's lying about everything, he's not a very good teacher, because he's not good at all. And if he says he's God and he's not, then he's crazy. And that really only leaves one option, doesn't it? That he is actually Lord. He is actually the I am good shepherd that came and laid down his life for us. And greater love has no one than this. They laid down his life for his friends. He's called us his friends. Some followed Jesus and some said he had a demon. And those are your two options this morning. You can either follow him or you can make up some crazy excuse of why you don't want to believe. The band's going to come and lead us in a time of response. Let me encourage you a few ways you might respond this morning. For some of you, you had to face the reality this morning that, man, Jesus really is who he says he is. And I don't have much to stand on to say he's not. I need to follow his voice. I need to believe this morning. If that's you, man, tell somebody. You can come tell me. I'd be super excited. Tell somebody what Jesus is doing, what God's doing in your life. For others this morning, we're not following Jesus because we don't hear his voice, because he speaks to us through his word. And if we don't spend time in his word, then we can't hear his voice. And for some of us, we just need to say, God, I need to hear your voice. The reason I've been struggling to follow is because I don't spend any time in your word. I don't read it. I don't pray. And then I wonder why I'm so wandering off down the road, little sheep without a shepherd. So some of us just need to say, God, you're my shepherd. I need to follow. And there are some of us this morning that we are wounded sheep. We are wounded sheep, and we are longing for the shepherd to restore us. And you just need to lay that stuff down. Say, God, you are the good shepherd, and man, here's what's going on. Here's my mess. And I just encourage you, don't leave wishing you had responded. If you're not sure how to respond this morning, then come and get on your knees before God and just say, God, here I am. Would you use me? Would you speak to me? Would you fill me? Would you help me follow?